All right, so welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
This here is Conversations with the Crawleys. We have conversations about faith, family, relationships, and we happen to do the occasional review of favorite shows that we like. For example, Ready to Love, Dallas, Fort Worth, somewhere in that whole area. So if this is
Midwest.
yeah. So
East Coast.
if this is content that you enjoy, make sure you do the following. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, request notifications, and share. And we'll see you in the comments. Consider becoming a member and checking out the merch store.
So, in today's episode.
So, it's been a little while. Yes, we know. Just life be lifing. Yeah, I said my Ebonics way. Life be lifing. All right, anyway, so picking up from the last episode.
Keeping people wanting it.
Yes.
Wanting it.
Y'all know y'all been missing us. We've been missing y'all too. Because she is gone.
There's a lot of people gone since the last
a lot of people gone since. But from the start of this episode, the most recent episode, Koshia is gone, which I'll be honest, I was a little surprised. I thought that they were going to do one of those famous, no one's going home tonight. We're just going to go ahead and give you all, just the feedback. But Koshia is gone.
They got to keep that production rolling. People got to leave out of this process.
They got to cut them stipend checks.
Okay, quick.
But LaRon, when Koshia leaves, LaRon's like, hey, girl, I'll text you.
My thing is this, you were in your feelings when she wasn't feeling you, but now that she's gone, you don't want to leave with her.
Now, here's the thing, though. She was feeling him. She just was...
No, him. He was all in his feelings.
Yes, he was all in his feelings.
Believing that she wasn't feeling
Correct.
him.
Yes.
And now...
Because his immaturity really showed in that episode. Really showed.
Because she was like, at the table, she was telling him, previous episode, like, look, if you saying it's gonna be me and you, we can lead the process.
So yeah.
But you see, he ain't leave behind her, did you?
His immaturity got the best of him.
Whatever, dude.
So it is ladies' turn this week. So Tommy is like, all right, find out what the non-negotiables are. What are the things that you cannot abide by, the things that they cannot abide by, and see if they're a match. So Justin, who again was newer to the process, he replaced old boy that got nervous and didn't show up. But Justin is...
At first, for a moment, I was like, was it you, Justin, who didn't want to show up at the mansion?
Nah, I wasn't him. But Justin has a date with Rashina. And Rashina's like, well, my top connection is Chaz, but Justin's number 2, right? They go salsa dancing. Justin, PE teacher Justin, is like, I was just looking for some salsa and chips and some guacamole.
I was like... So you can't dance? We don't got no rhythm. What's going on, bro?
And if you look at him, bruh man was stiff.
He was stiff. He don't go dancing. Dancing is not his forte.
He a PE teacher, so you got to have some kind of,
For flexibility,
body control, something, right? He was like,
teacher. Well, he did. He got his education in PE, so that might tell you something.
That's it. So it was like, bruh man is like stiff.
Well, at least he tried. We've seen episodes where dancing and people get frustrated or they don't want to participate or they over sweating. So
yes,
he has some stamina if he didn't have anything else.
So they did have a good date. Everybody's not, listen, we're not going to get into the non-negotiables unless there's something really outrageous, but most of the non-negotiables are pretty standard non-negotiables. Right? Communication.
Right.
Don't cheat.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Don't pick your nose in front of me.
Yes. Flush, right?
Right. Put the toilet seat down.
Okay, well, we can talk about that because that's a whole other issue. I got to do 2 things for you. All right.
Wow.
Anyway.
Wow, y'all heard that.
So Alexis, on the other side of Dallas or Fort Worth, goes on a date with Chaz. Now, here's my issue with Alexis. Alexis is telling everything that's happening in the ladies' lounge. So she starts off.
Is she telling everything or she's giving enough information for someone to be, because you do need information, right?
I agree.
You do have to give some type of example.
But what I'm speaking to is she, as far as what we can tell, she starts off the date almost with, so what do you think of the person that left? Talking about Koshia. So she uses that as an entry point into saying.
I thought he started that conversation.
No. She started that conversation, if I remember correctly. Let us know if I'm wrong. But I think she started that conversation of, what do you think about the person that left? And he's like, it's kind of sad for her, da 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 da.
Yeah, talking about what happened at the table.
So then she comes in, basically telling about the fight and argument that they had. So then now it's like, one, you're telling people what's happening in the ladies' lounge when Tommy said from the beginning,
right?
Ladies' lounge, gentlemen's lounge, stuff stays there.
Right.
So you're telling Will, which we'll talk about in a moment. You're telling Will what happened. No, I'm saying she's telling Will in past. She's told Will what's happened. But now she's telling Chaz about a disagreement that she had with the woman. That, first of all, let's just also be honest. This woman is no longer in the process.
So why does it matter?
So why does it matter? Why is it bringing up?
Maybe that's why she's saying it, because she's no longer in the process.
I don't think so. I get the impression that she's going to use whatever she can to basically make herself look like the victim and basically make other people seem like they are out for her or what have you. And so therefore denigrate the other women in the eyes of the men by telling the things that are happening within the ladies' lounge that can now impact how men are responding to the women that are also in the process. So,
Gotcha.
so yeah, they talk about non-negotiables, whatever. But then she was expecting a kiss.
Well, she said that there was tension there.
Yes.
And she was like, if he does go in for it, she was gonna be okay with that. So, but I was happily surprised that Chaz, he was like, look, I am talking to a lot of women, because at first I started looking at him like he might be on the player list.
Yeah.
Because he seemed like he's saying everybody is his top and his favorite, blah, blah, blah.
There's a maturity in Chaz.
But I appreciated that when he sensed the same thing, he said, but I'm talking to too many women to be starting kissing women.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So she wanted a kiss, was
she
expecting
did.
a kiss. Chaz was like,
Nope.
not happening.
I got too many women in the pot. You ain't gonna mess up my good thing.
And because I think a few years back, we tried to do The Bachelor, and one thing we were like, why are they kissing everybody? They just passing around lips all around. So
yeah,
Chaz, good looking out.
Yeah.
Making sure you kind of save your kisses for whoever is your top person.
Okay.
All right. So then Alonzo, Vanessa, William, and Patrice, let me say it this way. Alonzo, William, and Patrice go on a date, and Vanessa just shows up. Because she was really third wheeling in that entire process.
But we understand why now, because William,
Mr. Telephone Man, there's something wrong. Yeah, you don't have the right number, bro.
You don't have the right number. Oh, I guess she ain't feeling me. Because, and granted, in this age and time, people will ghost you. That's my understanding.
True.
And they won't call you back. So he did make 3 attempts. But I would have got to that point a lot quicker. Like, hey, I've been trying to hit you up. Are we good?
Make the call.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You
could have just called. And then when it was like, hi, this is Billy.
Shut up. It wouldn't have gone through at all because it was an extra number.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true. Because we forget, like, and that's why I have with some people, I'm like, we got some people, if you text them, then they turn around and call you. Yeah. Don't do that. Yeah. Allow me time to respond.
Like the text bings through, and as it's binging through, you get a call from that person. I don't need that. But if I text you,
and it's been a couple of days.
It's been a little while, right? If I know, or if it's important, right? Now, if it's important, I'll text you. I'll wait a few minutes, see if you got it. And then if it's something like pressing, then I'll call you and say, hey, I was trying to reach you, right? But he just was like text, and nothing. You own some of that, right?
Yeah.
And you also own some of that by... You should be able to look at the phone number and be like, oh, there's an extra digit in there.
You're like, why she ain't responding? Let me check. But again, sometimes we all have come to where we're insecure and we're like, well, I thought we were vibing, but maybe we weren't vibing.
Yeah.
And you don't want to come all thirsty, but at the same time, you got to at least, like you said, you could have put call in like, hey, I'm just calling to make sure you're okay. I felt like we were vibing, haven't heard from you, But if you're not getting a voicemail, it would have told you immediately that there was something wrong with the number.
That's a sign. Message. All right. So basically, now Alonzo is feeling Patrice and she's kind of feeling him. Alonzo, I'm a little...
if that's her type,
That's her type.
that's her type. My thing is, has that type worked out for you? Because if you're talking about you do want to get married and have children, has he? I haven't seen a serious side of him.
Nope.
Maybe she has, but I think she even mentioned it, that she's not really seen as serious or the intent as much as William.
He's not surface, and he's still kind of he's giving the what do they call them, beauty pageant answers.
Who, Will or William?
Alonzo.
Oh, Alonzo.
Alonzo's
Sorry,
giving the
bad.
beauty pageant answers to a lot of things. He's not really going deep. There's really not a chance to see or get to know him. And for Patrice, she's like, I think she's somewhat seeing it, but I think she's also blinded by the fact that he's saying some of the sweet nothings that she likes to hear.
Yeah, but he
They're
really ain't
sweet
saying
nothings.
nothing.
They're sweet nothings.
It ain't nothing sweet
Not
about
a thing. So
it. She ain't saying nothing.
we find out William was adopted. And so that, of course, also plays into how he
That's
treats
true.
family, things of that nature. Now, one thing that I was like, I don't get that, was he was talking about how he likes to work out. That's a high priority for him.
That's a non-negotiable.
Right. That he works out, right? And that somebody who works out with him, right? And so, but for Vanessa, her thing was, well, I wonder how that's going to be as far as him taking care of the house.
I think you need to ask more questions, because I'm like, do you think he leaves goes to work and then works out for 5 hours?
And then just comes home to go to sleep, expecting meals on the table? I don't think that's it. I think he's
No.
just saying he prioritizes his health.
Right.
And wants somebody else that prioritizes their health. Doesn't mean that there's nothing else over that. So, I don't know. I didn't get it.
I didn't get it either.
So,
I don't know.
Mika goes on a date with Dominique. And Dominique wants kids. Mika's like, listen, this portal is closed.
But she said she has to really feel the dude to have more kids. I hear that. And yeah, I can imagine, you're married now because she's had kids. And I think it's about, if I'm understanding her, maybe there would been no additional commitment with that. So I get it, though. If you came to the point where you're not sure that the man's going to stick around and then you have a kid with them, if you're going to say kids are off the table, then keep kids off the table.
Right.
Don't give someone hoping and then you turn around like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Because in some respects, Dominique takes it as there's a potential that he could be the right guy for her and she's willing to. But that's a big ask on both sides.
Oh, it's
right?
a big ask.
It's a big risk, because
Yeah.
what you don't want to do is, she's saying, well, we need to wait and see how long this is going to go. And then y'all keep waiting and waiting and waiting. And then she's like, oh, it's too late now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that needs to be
Because how
figured
old
out.
is she?
She's 36, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Let me see.
36?
Yeah, she's 36. So
You already...
let's say, okay, let's say they do get together, right? Let's say within 2 years they're solid, then they decide to have a child. That's 38 going on 39. So now you're basically from 39 up to 57, raising a child till they turn 18 and then what have you. So that is a big ask, right?
That's a big ask.
For somebody that you are meeting on a reality TV show.
Right.
That has a history of one married couple, if we're correct, right?
Right.
They do have a couple that are together, right? But we have one, if I recall correctly, one couple that married as a result of this. So the odds are not in your favor.
Not at all.
So I can understand Mika like, no, I want to see somebody and we're going to date. But whoever we're going to date, they really need to be of the mindset that kids are off the table.
Yeah.
If something magical, mystical, and just amazing happens and that changes, cool. But operate from the standpoint, kids are off the table. So,
And is it, and then I think you will, if you're really liking the person, you have to decide, is it that she doesn't want to give birth to children,
that's another thing.
or she doesn't want any children at all? Because that's a big difference.
That is.
Because if she's saying, well, if you really want to have a kid, we can have a surrogate and someone else can have them.
Right.
And then I'll raise children. But as long as I don't have to actually birth children.
The impression I get, and right, that is a big difference. But the impression I get is that she's like, I don't want to raise no more kids. She's like, I got my 2 kids. One is
right?
pretty well.
Oh,
yeah,
2, yeah.
She has 2.
Yeah.
One is like 18 years old. The other, I think, is like 6.
Yeah.
So one, that's a big gap, right? But 2, you got the 6, you got another 12 years, 12, 13 years of them being a child in your house. You don't want to have that be increased, right? So, but they do talk kind of, she's like, the ladies lounge is coming up. He's like, well, I don't think I'm going home. He's like, I think he wasn't cocky. He was confident.
Yeah.
He's like, I think I'm presenting something that's not here.
He ain't lying though. I can see if he was lying. I was like, you ain't lying, bro.
He's not.
You pretty much got your stuff together.
I would say between him and right now Chaz.
Yeah, those are the two
that seem to have things
solid.
together, stable, solid.
Yeah, they seem the most solid out of the guys. The other ones, potentially they could, but they're just not portraying or communicating that well.
William could, but I don't think he's portraying it well. And I think that
because he's like a comic, and then he's like a National Guard or something.
Yeah, so there's some things there that was like,
yeah.
Alonzo, no. Jonathan, no.
Well, Jonathan has the business. He says there's a family business.
There is.
So,
but Jonathan, as we'll talk about in a moment, Jonathan is not opening up, and Jonathan is not confident enough to present who he is to potentially attract someone, right? So Maya goes on a date with Justin, and Justin's like, hey, she twerked on me at the party, so that must mean she liked me. But the question was, at that party, go ahead and twerk on the person that you're least connected to.
Which, at the time, he was new.
Right, but he was like, hey, what that mean? Because if you remember when she was twerking, he was like, hey, what's this? So he basically was like, I need to investigate what that is.
Sure.
Okay.
So definitely. And he mentions, I guess, at some point he did get to talk to her because they're both from Mississippi.
Yes.
And it sounds like she just moved to Texas.
To Texas, yeah.
So
possible connection there. It was good for them to actually connect. Possible connection. Justin just strikes me as a little odd sometimes. Just my thoughts.
He seemed like a regular guy. I mean, he's a PE teacher.
Something like that. Okay. Rashina, Jonathan, and Will go on a body butter making date. So they go make their signature body butter.
I wouldn't mind doing that. We did that with candles.
Yeah, we did it with candles and air freshener.
Yeah. It was on
room
the same.
Oil spray, right. So pretty cool thing. They ask again, what are the non-negotiables? Will is, and this is where Will strikes me as he says what he thinks people want to hear. Because he says faith in God, which I'm not questioning his faith, but kind of the way he put it and the way he phrased it.
The way he's positioning it.
Yeah, it was like, oh no.
Well, we can't see or tell if he's standing on his faith throughout this,
True.
So it could be, I mean, he's been consistent. Let me put it this. He's been saying the same thing consistent because he said the same thing to Alexis.
Okay.
When they were
right. Okay.
Remember that? And so, but he wasn't really interested because he was like, really, why he was on this date. So I think it's kind of solidifying that he doesn't have a connection with Russia.
Yes.
So,
but Jonathan again was very surface with his.
He didn't look like he wanted to be there.
He said, "Woman that smokes,"
and he said that when he had his side interview, like well, I'm not going to betray anybody or to somebody if I know we're not going to be connected. He just wasn't interested in her.
But that's pretty much how he's operated throughout, right? Or he has this this opinion of himself that doesn't match up with his presentation of himself.
Yes, and also we could tell that some people they don't do well with trying to multitask multiple people.
Right.
And he comes off that type of person, like all these lights and the cameras, and I got to talk to women. Everyone keeps saying the same thing. And so I can see, I don't want to call it moodiness, but you can tell that he just doesn't show up well in these kind of situations. It seems like.
Okay. I'll give you that. Okay. So ladies lounge. pretty typical as far as everybody saying who they're connected, right? Nothing stood out as far as surprises in there. The main conversation that came up again was Patrice was like, Tommy, I had a conversation with Will. Will accused me of something that we talked about in the ladies' lounge. And the only person that talks to him is Alexis. What up with that? And Alexis is like, well, I didn't mention your name. She didn't, right? We'll give her that. You mentioned the name specifically, and he did use his Inspector Gadget skills to try and figure out who it was, right? But again, instead of, there is a way to give feedback where you can give
without specifics,
without too many specifics that help identify where it came from, right? If the question, for example, the feedback could have been, there's questions about your stability. Are you able to maybe take care of people? There are some questions that some of the ladies have. Very general. Doesn't have to say, well, you had a conversation with someone and you talked about going to bed and made them feel insecure about your living situation. Well, then I know who I had the conversation with, right? So, and that's again why I think Alexis is doing this in many respects to ingratiate herself to many of the men and put many of the ladies under the bus, because not only did Patrice have an issue with it, Mika had an issue with it. You saw Maya shaking her head too. So a lot of the other ladies are saying, no, we saying the same thing. And again, she's like, well, I don't have to do this and da-da-da. Well, okay.
Yeah, I think either, like you said, I can see that. I can truly see that. So she has to make a decision, though, if she's really in it for love or she's just trying to win over the dudes.
Right.
Because it's not going to get you love. It's going to get you through the end of the show.
Right. And then you'll be sitting at the end in the reunion special being like, we're not working together. We're not working out.
Right. Or we're not together no more. And then you're fighting with all the other women about what occurred.
Right. So basically Tommy pulls out a baseball and is like, I got a curveball for y'all. Okay, Tommy.
Yeah, they're like, look, we're shutting these episodes down so we
Tommy
get rid
like,
of two of them jokers.
Listen.
He's like, two of them have to go.
We got to get these shows done before the summer so that way we can go ahead and do Ready to Love.
They should go to Louisiana.
They might, just because they did that Make a Move one. That might be where they go. I don't think I've heard, I haven't really looked, but I haven't heard where they may be going next. If y'all know, let us know in the comments. I think that there would be some other great cities that they could go to. I think LA might be interesting.
LA would be.
I really think Chicago would be a very interesting one.
Yeah, they could do Chicago. Maybe because of the unions. They don't want to have to pay all that extra money.
But then I'm also thinking of other black meccas, if you will. So Charlotte might be another place to go.
Charlotte, my heard is Charlotte's
Charlotte, what is it? The Triangle Charlotte, Raleigh-Durham area. Do something there. Might be good. So anyway, Tommy throws out this curveball. He says, look, not one brother is going home. Two of these guys going home. Who y'all got? So William's name comes up. And William, again, just as point of reference, William was the comedian, right? Will's name comes up, who is the one who I don't trust at all. And then Jonathan's name comes up, who we don't know enough about.
Yeah.
So long story short, Jonathan and Will are gone. And William has survived, but he's also like, this is my second time, I think, been in the bottom. So therefore he's got to, figure out where he needs to make his adjustments and really find out who his strong connection is and really build that connection. So next week, of course, is the introduce your top connection to your friends, your top friends. So that always proves to be interesting. And we always seem to see a shakeup in the connections based upon that, because the advice of wisdom, the advice and wisdom of your counsel sometimes will help you to see those red flags that you didn't see.
Sure.
Because you were blinded by the beauty.
Was it the beauty?
Or the booty. One of the two.
Beauty or the booty.
Yep. It's not your beauty, it's your booty. All right. So anyway, that's it for this one.
And a whole commercial.
Yeah. Well, I forget what movie that was. All right. Anyway, that's it for this one. We'll see y'all next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Bye.